Howdy, folks. Got a seedling update. We got a lot growing here since the last time I updated you guys. And I think last time we had maybe 2 flats growing. We got, I don't know what it is now, 13. No, 11. Can't count. Don't ever do math on camera. It doesn't work. All right. Well, let's get started with the updates. Let's see. But I think last time we had started rhubarb, and that might have been just about it. Rhubarb and some lettuce and spinach. Lettuce and spinach are actually out of here now, and I'll show you those at the end. But the rhubarb is looking great. So they're looking quite large. Doing well. These get planted. I need to check. I think it's 2 weeks before our last frost date, average last frost date, which should be April 15th, approximately. So the rhubarb and the violas, I believe, are the same. They're very cold hardy. If you have rhubarb planted, you're probably seeing it starting to come up right about now. So violas look pretty good too. They look nice and green. All right, and then we'll move over here, and we've got some butterfly weed, 2 butterfly weed. I believe that's what they all are. We had butterfly weed and butterfly bush. Maybe these are all butterfly weed. We had another butterfly type plant, but we must, I don't know if we planted those or not. Tanya started the seed. The leftovers from our spinach. All right, none of these are coming up yet, but we've got peppers and tomatoes. We just started these. And then over here we've got another, those are all tomatoes. So we're starting Amish paste, red cherries, brandywines, yellow cherries, orange slicers. We've just got quite a mix. Started these. Brussels sprouts, red cabbage, green cabbage. Those are all just coming up. We need to get some bricks in here and get them a little closer to lights. Our lights aren't adjustable, and it just didn't have any way to rig them up that way. So I figured I can put something under there to sort of lift it closer. But some of our stuff, these lights are pretty bright. Some of our stuff hasn't gotten, even without getting them closer, they haven't gotten leggy, which is good. But I'm sure some of this will be more susceptible. All right, so we have got these little cauliflowers sprouting. We do 2 seeds and a lot of cells to ensure germination, mostly because we don't have, we have more space this year than we did in years past, but because we don't have room for just like a ton of flats, we just kind of waste, I don't know, you just waste an extra seed and then pick the better one is a common strategy. So that way all your cells will have something in them, or you increase the chance of not having a dead cell. So cauliflower, broccoli. And those are more peppers back there. And moving up to the top shelf, what do we got here? Oh, this is one we did a couple of weeks ago. Some yarrow, some blue sage, some common sage, or green sage, and let's see, thyme, which I believe we had a little tiny bit of good germination somewhere. They're really small. They're hard to see. We started those with the rest of these, and I think the seeds I had were bad, so we threw a couple more seeds in there from a fresh pack, and they seem to be coming up. So, yay. We'll have thyme this year. more tomatoes. I think this might have been a flat. We were starting extras for friends and family, or there you go, to sell. We're gonna sell them at a yard sale, possibly. Try to recoup some of the cost of our seeds. And more, another flat of tomatoes and peppers. Check out, oh, that was noisy. Check out, these are all onions. And they are looking great. Purple onions and yellow onions. And then they're a little dry, they need watered, but garlic chives, basil, more sage, oregano, and thyme. Yeah. So we planted these. You might wonder, you see how thick they're planted? There's like a lot of them in here. We learned this year, and we're going to give it a try. We learned from a YouTuber named M.I. Gardner from up in Michigan that you can actually sow these really, really densely. And the roots of onions are very fibrous. So when we go to plant these, and they'll be quite a bit bigger, we can actually take the cell and kind of crumble it apart a little bit, or just, I guess he kind of pulls each one of them out, and they'll separate pretty easily, and then you can plant a whole bunch of them. And that way, this cell, each with these smallish cells, you can fit 72 in a flat, but I don't know, we've got to have, 400 onions in here, I would think, as densely as they're planted. So some of these have 6 or 8 or 10 seeds in here. We just kind of sprinkled them in. Onion seeds are pretty small. Although I think these might have been pelleted, which is why we're getting these still hanging on the tops of the little seedlings. Okay. So yeah, that's what we've got going. We planted a lot planted. We'll see how everything works out. We might be I don't know if we're hair early on the tomatoes. Had someone tell me we might be. I don't know. I used a combination of factors to figure out starting times, and I used Johnny Seed's calculator, and they have you put in your average last frost date, and then calculate it out from there for your seed starting times and planting times. And so I used that, and I used the online information from Farmer's Almanac, and kind of compared the two and tried to give us decent start times. So the tomatoes are started 8 weeks before planting, and I believe if I'm remembering right, we can plant them 2 weeks after our last frost date. And here, Farmer's Almanac says our average last frost date is May 1st. And a lot of people wait until like Memorial Day to plant their tomatoes. It's definitely a safe bet. But I've definitely, I not with tomatoes, but like with brassicas, like your broccolis and stuff, we've in the past waited too long to plant them, and then they don't do as well in the heat because they like cool. So this year I was trying to like figure out the most ideal times to plant stuff and do it that way and see how it goes. If we have a cold snap, it might be a bummer. We might be buying some tomatoes. But here, let me show you this little thing we got set up over here. So I set this up. We got this from Sam's Club when we had our apartment, and it's a little self-watering thing. This would be awesome if you have a small space, if you have an apartment, if you just don't have ground to grow in. This is fantastic. So we've got all these spinach, lettuce. It was a mesclun mix, so I have some like random stuff. I'm not exactly sure what it is. This one lettuce kind of looks like a weed, but it's lettuce. Just like a spiky lettuce. And of course, I've got all these fabulous little green weeds in here because the soil's been in here for a long time. It was outside a good portion of last year, so you know, weed seed blows around. There's little dinky things, but it's really cool because you come over here and you fill this with water. You just spray it down in here with your hose, and this is a float, so this will come up when it's full, and then you know. And it bottom waters and keeps this very well hydrated. This is fantastic for a beginner gardener because you almost can't screw it up. If you check it every couple of days and water that, you'll do great. When we lived in our apartment, I had 2 tomatoes and 3 basil plants in here, and like the tomatoes got enormous, and one of them like fell off the side and kind of broke, but it stayed alive and I didn't have any problem keeping them watered. So this thing is just beast. It's pretty amazing. And there's a little, on the other side, there's a little plug down here so you can drain it. We just left it outside too. It cracked or anything. We just pulled that drain out and it was good. All right, guys, that's our update for the day. It is beautiful outside. It's incredibly sunny. It's hard to see. It's finally getting warm. It feels like spring. All right, until next time. Have a great day, guys.